Hi, my name is Mark. I'm a middle school teacher, and welcome to my first video. The last couple months, coronavirus, what else is there to do? I've been looking into The Secret by Byron Preiss and trying to take a little bit of a systematic approach to this and try and see what I can notice about the puzzles that maybe other people haven't, and stay logical throughout it, but also see if I can kind of find some new things that maybe other people have maybe not missed, but overlooked. And so I started in the first one that was found, the Chicago one, which I think is pretty clearly the easiest of the group, and I don't think too many would dispute that. So here's just a couple things I've noticed that I've never seen online, and when I search for them, I don't find any results. So I thought I'd share some stuff with you, and maybe it can help everyone. Let's get to it. All right, the first one is to Congress, R is known, and I don't know, the explanations that I've seen out there never really struck me as great, right? To Congress, Roosevelt University is known. That just doesn't have the same kind of poetic feel to it, or maybe the same level of just satisfaction that some of the other clues have when they kind of click into place. So I started there. I started actually thinking about the radius of a circle, and I thought, okay, there's like those two little curves of Congress there. But then I quickly realized that I'm not smart enough, I don't think, to. I failed high school math, not really, but I didn't do all that great, and I don't even remember how to solve for a radius. So maybe somebody else smarter than me could look at it. And then I thought, all right, what about that little R circle thing, trademark? I was like, all right, I think you register those with Congress actually. So I looked at it. I guess it means registered trademark, not all rights reserved. But then I kept going. So there's your symbol. Um, yeah, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, established by the Constitution, the legislative branch. That actually sounds pretty good. In order to get one of those, you have to let Congress know, right? You have to register your mark. Okay, so is there one of those in Chicago? Well, actually, yeah. For 225 years, it's been around, I guess. Never mind. Since 1876, it's been around. The Chicago Public Library. So then I looked it up, the fourth floor of Harold Washington Library Center, and I was pumped because it's right there, just about a half block or a block off the path that, the clues could take you down. So I was like, all right, got this. Only problem is that wasn't around at the time, so I was kind of defeated. But I looked where was it before, and it was right up the road at the Chicago Cultural Center. So that's a super cool building. If you haven't looked at it, the architecture is amazing. There's all kinds of inscriptions and quotes. It's definitely somewhere that someone like Preiss would have been into. I think he would have enjoyed looking at stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's for sure, obviously, what we're looking at, but it kind of makes sense, and it would put you in very much the right area, in kind of a more of a puzzle-like way, rather than just Roosevelt University, which I had never personally heard of until reading about this puzzle. Right? It's definitely not a major university. I don't know why it would be known to Congress really at all. Okay, then I started looking at the picture. So the rest of the clues I think generally make sense. I don't really. I wish I could find a better answer for some of those last lines like hush and brush, but I couldn't. So we'll let those sit for a while. But then I came to Buckingham Fountain. It's one of the biggest in the world, and it's sometimes referred to as the front door of Chicago. If this is one of your easier puzzles, one that you think might get solved first, where better to start than the front door, right? And it kind of allegorically represents Lake Michigan, so that works. I guess they made it for $1 million back in the 1920s, which would be like 8 or 9 million today. It's a pretty cool thing. All right, there it is, and it's just a little bit southeast of the dig site where they actually found it, right? And one thing that jumped out right away at me is the medallion that's hanging, kind of from the right side of the guy in the picture, right? It's pretty similar. The shape is right there. Now I know people will say, especially the wiki, which says a lot of things. I'll leave it at that. But it was part of a building, the corner of State and Madison in downtown Chicago. That's a long ways away. I think that might be one of those that's designed to help you find the city, or kind of narrow down your general area, but and I'm certainly, I mean, it's obviously it's a very close match. I'm sure it was intentional, but I don't think that's all that it had going for it, because when you overlay them like that, you get a really close match. Now, when I do this, I'm never going to distort it. I'm not going to rotate it or flip it a whole bunch unless I tell you that. So I'm not trying to mislead you. I rotated it just slightly just to line it up, but that is the image, and it overlays really nicely on top of the fountain itself. And I started thinking, okay, well, that could be coincidence, but just north of that fountain, there is a statue called Crane Girl. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a pulley or a crane itself, but you can certainly see the idea of a crane in that art, right? I think it's definitely right there. So Crane Girl looks like that, and it's right there. If you overlay them on top of each other, that's what you end up with. And if you size the fountain appropriately, Crane Girl, the crane, falls just about where you would expect. And even those little lines of the crane and the path line up super well. I don't know if you guys can see those on there. Can I highlight them? I think, but like where? Like right in here, right? Those lines work really well together, even that. Again, I didn't manipulate it at all. It's easy to do that. It's easy for people to see things they're not looking for, so you have to be careful. But I think that's pretty strong. I think it's pretty strong. All right, and then up north, or not north, up on top of the crane in the picture, you have this weird sculpture thing, right? And the wiki says it is the Fountain of the Great Lakes at the Art Institute, which I believe. It definitely looks like that, but it also really looks like Crane Girl if you look at them side by side. Those two statues look pretty similar. And the water that she looks like she's pouring goes all the way down to the top of the crane, so you know, it works for both of them. There's a little bit of a close-up on Lake Michigan Lady. And then, if you put it on there, there's that little curve. Can I show you again? I think I can. I'm still learning this. But it follows, right? Her arm and the water goes right through there. And down all the way to the crane. Okay, then I was thinking, what are these wings? There's an overlay of that. What are these wings, right? It's really weird, and I spent a lot of time, a stupid amount of time actually, well, not excessive, but trying to do a thing where you answer questions about an insect and tried to match it with the species. And finally I was just like, well, this is not a good use of my time, and I just looked up crane insect, and it turns out right there on the left, that's the crane fly, which certainly matches up with that image, except I think those are extra wings on the image. That's a common mistake. Even some bug expert online misidentified one, thought it was like a hybrid of a crane fly, and somebody else said that's actually called a hanging bug. Okay, so they look really similar, but overall I think you can see a really good look, right? If I had to guess, I might think that maybe they were going for crane fly and just didn't quite check on the number of wings for the species, or maybe that back part is supposed to be more like the, I guess I don't know what it is, abdomen or thorax or something instead of a wing. But either way, it certainly looks like a crane fly, which just to me ties it all together. There's one more thing that I found when I did this, and I didn't even notice it until later on, but if you do that, the wing ends up right at the Art Institute of Chicago Modern Wing entrance. So I think it's just, it all ties together really well. Maybe I found a pattern or an idea where there is none, but I think it works. And then I've got one more thing I noticed for you. I'm not 100% on this. I debated not even putting it in, but I wanted to show you guys what I saw. So that's Shed Aquarium. That's in 1995. It's the earliest satellite imagery that doesn't completely suck. Before that, it's pretty awful, at least in Chicago. And then that little feature around his ear has always intrigued me, right? What is that? Why does it look like that? Why the little notch? And when you look at them side by side, I think you can see some resemblance there. And when you put them on top of each other, it's a nice match. It's not perfect, but the notch lines up. I kind of wish that little, I don't even know what you'd call it, flap behind his ear kind of matched the curve a little bit more nicely. the crane kind of nicely clips the edge of the dock there. Like I said, I don't have great overhead imagery from 1982. I don't know what exactly it would have looked like, but I think it's a close enough match that I wanted to show you guys and see what people thought. All right, thanks for viewing. I'm going to be doing some more of this. Like I said, I started with Chicago because it was the first one found. I think it's the easiest, but I have more plans. If there's something you'd like to see overlaid on top of itself, kind of in the style that I just did, or questions that you've got for me, please let me know. I don't know if I said it, but I'm a middle school teacher, so if you want to blast me or tell me don't know what I'm talking about, I get that fairly regularly as well. So thanks for checking in, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks.